Hello, boys and girls, and welcome to Wednesday Night Bible Study. Tonight we continue our study of the Kingdom Provided. We've learned so much about King David, and in the last couple of lessons we've learned about his son. Do you remember his name? That's right, it was Solomon. In last week's lesson, Solomon had a dream, and he asked God for something very, very special, because God told him whatever he asked for, he would grant it to Solomon. Do you remember what it was? That's right, it was wisdom. Now, wisdom does not save us. Only Jesus can save us from our sin. But wisdom does teach us how to live like Jesus. Wisdom teaches us how to obey God and how to love God. It teaches us how to think the right things, to say the right things, and to live our life in the right way. When it comes to it, there's really just a right or a wrong way to do things. And the books of the Bible that Solomon wrote are all about how to live your life in a right way, using wisdom to obey and love God. Let's watch our story today.
Hi, I'm Megan, and this is Jessie.
Hi, Megan. I need some help.
Okay, how can I help?
I don't know. I'm having a hard time trying to decide what to do.
Okay, well, why don't you tell our friends and me what you're trying to decide?
Okay, so I got $5 for watering our neighbor's garden while they were on vacation. But I can't decide what to do with the money. I could use it to buy the yellow Karate Koala Squad action figure. I could save it, or I could give it to our missions offering at church.
Oh, that's definitely a decision that requires wisdom, Jessie.
Yeah. Wait, what's wisdom?
Okay, well, I could tell you, but why don't we listen to today's Bible story instead? It is all about wisdom for God's people. Let's listen.
God gave King Solomon wisdom to lead his people. People came from far away to hear Solomon's wise words. The Bible teaches that there are two ways to live: a wrong way, doing what is foolish and evil, and a right way, doing what is wise and good.
Solomon wrote down wise thoughts called Proverbs. In the book of Proverbs, Solomon told God's people how to make wise choices. Solomon wrote about getting along with others, telling the truth, being a good friend, and many other things.
Trust in the Lord with all your heart, Solomon wrote in Proverbs chapter 3, verse 5. He also wrote other wise sayings like, "A gentle answer turns away anger, but a harsh word stirs up anger." And even a young man is known by his actions, by whether his behavior is pure and upright.
Some people do not always listen to God's words. Solomon said, "Fools hate wisdom and instruction." He also said, "A fool does not want to learn, but only wants to say what he thinks." And "A fool does whatever he thinks is right, but a wise person listens to advice." Solomon wrote another book in the Bible called Ecclesiastes. The book of Ecclesiastes has wisdom for people too. Solomon wrote about money and work and how to live a life that matters. The most important thing, Solomon said, is to love and obey God.
Solomon even wrote a poem. He taught that there is a time for everything. A time to give birth and a time to die. A time to plant and a time to dig up. A time to kill and a time to heal. A time to tear down and a time to build. A time to cry and a time to laugh. A time to be sad and a time to dance. Solomon also wrote a poem about love. This poem is called Song of Songs. Solomon wrote this poem to celebrate God's wise plan for love and marriage.
God gives us wisdom in the Bible. Wisdom helps us be like Jesus in how we live, how we talk, and how we think. But wisdom cannot save us. Only Jesus, who perfectly followed God's wise plan, can rescue us from sin.
All right, boys and girls, I hope you enjoyed that story. Now I have a few questions for you. Number 1, which books of the Bible did we learn from today, all of which were written by Solomon? Do you remember? One of my favorite books of the Bible, Proverbs, a book called Ecclesiastes, and a very beautiful book called Song of Songs, and it's about the husband and wife relationship. Number 2, what is wisdom? Wisdom is loving God and obeying His Word, the Bible. Number 3, can wisdom save us from our sin? No. Wisdom's a wonderful thing, but only Jesus can save us from our sin. Number 4, how does wisdom help us? Oh, it's wonderful because it helps us to live like Jesus. Remember, in the way we live, in the way we speak, and in the way we think. And that's really what should be our goal for our life, is to be more and more like Jesus. So we need to pray for wisdom so that we can do that. Now, number 5, what does God know? Pretty easy question, right? God knows everything. And He knows that we need wisdom. So that needs to be something that we pray for each and every day. God, help me to live like you. Help me to think like you. Help me to speak like you. And help me to live like you. And if we would all do that, this world would be a much better place. Now, boys and girls, I know that if I give you an assignment for reading tonight, that would be way too much for little ones, because this writing of Solomon would take over 50 chapters to read. But I do think you could probably read a proverb with your family. So if you want to turn to Proverbs, chapter 3 is my absolute favorite. So you could take some time with your family to read Proverbs chapter 3. But remember, there's 3 books that Solomon either wrote completely or wrote part of. Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, and Song of Songs. I hope you enjoy that time with your family, boys and girls, and I hope you have a wonderful week, and I'll see you soon.